Welcome to Flatirons, where we seek to bring the awesome life of Christ to a lost and broken world. For more information, check us out on the website, flatironschurch.com. To stay connected with us throughout the week, just follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Today we're in our series, Mad Men. Thanks for joining us. We're glad you're here.
So good. So everybody born after 1975, that's called music. Mr. Billy Joel. And hey, the other campuses are joining us right now. Give it up for the sax player, though. That's awesome. So I played saxophone in high school. I did. We call it saxophone. That's what we called it. I'll be honest with you, because I was, look. And anyway, I sold it, though, to buy an engagement ring and married Robin. So I know. Honey, if you're listening, I love you. And Hey, if you haven't been around the last few weeks, we're going to wrap up a 4-week series that we've been in called Mad Men. And we're looking at these concepts, the idea that we all have bought a sales pitch from somebody about who we are and what we're supposed to do with our life. And we've been running our lives off of that sales pitch, right or wrong. And the other kind of concept we've been looking at is that like our life is a blank page, and then we're born, and all of our life, people write on it, experiences write on it, good and bad, to say this is who you are and this is how much you're worth and this is if you're enough or not. And so we keep coming back to this. This is how we're going to land it even today with this big what if question. It goes like this: What if you knew, and it's not just in your head. We all have head knowledge. We read stuff in the Bible, or we learn stuff about, or people say stuff, but we don't stop there. If you knew in your head and also believed in your heart, connected these two things, and then lived out of, like took action, made choices and decisions about the most important parts of your life. If you did that out of what God says is true about you, like what God has written on our page, what God says we're worth, what God says our value is. If we could live out of that, the question is, would anything change in your life? Would the most important parts of your life, be different if I actually held on to and never let go of what God says is true about himself and about me and who I am and my purpose and point in life? And so it always comes back to, and again, it's going to do the same thing today, is your choices are trust God and then hold on to what he says is true and leads to a better future. I'm going to hold on to that, and I'm going to obey it. I'm just not going to agree with it. I'm going to hold on to it and trust it, and then I'm going to obey it, or I'm going to not trust him. Don't trust him, and I'm going to go trying to find a better life apart from what he says is true. And when God says this is true and I do something different, that's the definition of sin. All right? And we've all done it. We've all done it. Thanks God, I'm going to do something different. All right? So we've been studying this event in the life of Jesus, and we're going to pick up right where we left off last week. But we started with this. Jesus was 30 years old. And he'd been a carpenter. He worked construction all of his life. And then when he was 30 years old, he went to this river and he was baptized by his cousin John. And from that point on, his life for the next 3 years had one purpose. Everything led up to a cross, right? And then on that cross, he would die and he would pay for our sins. And then his Father would raise him from the dead. But that baptism kind of started a new season of his life. But that's going to be a rough road. And his Father, God, knows that it's going to be tough, and it's going to be brutal, and it's going to be confusing, it's going to be dark, it's going to be scary, a lot of things are going to be overwhelming. And so God knows, because Jesus is fully man, just like all of us are fully humans, all right? He says, it's going to get so dark on some days in this next three years, you're going to need something to hold on to, because if you don't, you'll tap out. Like all of us, if we don't have something to hold on to, we'll just put up a white flag and quit. And so before Jesus takes one step out of that river, God calls a time out and he says, let me write on his page, you are my son, I love you, I'm well pleased with you, I have a purpose for your life, you are enough, and you don't have to do anything alone. Apart from me, you can do nothing, but I will be with you every step of the road. And that's where we started with, okay? Jesus knew who he was. We pick up the next episode 2 weeks ago, is Jesus has gone on this, and I don't have a better word for it, like a 40-day retreat. He went out in the desert to kind of prepare himself. He fasted and prayed for 40 days and 40 nights. And when he was really hungry and really weak and really like vulnerable, that's when the devil attacks him. That's when the devil attacks me, right? When I'm hungry for something inside, I don't feel like God's feeding me very well. Or I think things ought to happen like this and they're not happening. And that's when the devil comes at him. And Jesus gets through the first 2 rounds. We're going to pick up in round 3 this final temptation that Jesus deals with. And I think we'll all be able to relate to it. We're going to be in the book of Luke. So there's 4 biographies in the Bible: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the Gospels, all right? And we've been in Matthew the whole time. We're going to flip over to Luke. Luke writes a different version of the same thing. And it's the same story, but I like the way he says it, all right? So Luke chapter 4, and at all of our campuses, there are free Bibles in the back. If you don't have a Bible, or you don't know where to go get a Bible, or you lost your Bible, or you just want another one, I don't know, all right? There's free Bibles in the back. Take one, or get one now, or get on your way out. But here's what we're going to pick up. It says this, and the devil took Jesus up and showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. Time out, I have no idea how that happened. If you're going like, how did he do that? I don't know. It's the devil and Jesus. They can do stuff. I don't know. But somehow he took him up to a high place where he'd go, here's everything available to a man. Everything that you'd ever want. Somehow he's able to see it all in one moment. So the devil took him up and showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time, and then said to Jesus, to you I will give all this, what's the word? Authority. That's really important. Okay. To you I will give all this authority and their glory, for it has been delivered to me, and I give it to whom I will. If you then will worship me, it will all be yours. So let's kind of put this in context, what's going on here, all right? Let's see what Satan is, the real temptation here is, that Satan's trying to get Jesus with, and let's see what his goal is in Jesus' life. And over the last several weeks, we've learned a lot about Jesus, but we've also learned a lot about the devil. And here's what we know, all right, is that the devil only has one purpose in your life. He may promise you something. He may say he's on your side. He may say he's looking out for you. He may, say, I actually have a better way than what God says. Let me tell you, all right? At the end, Jesus says the devil only has one agenda for your life. No matter what he promises, he has one end game. And this is what Jesus says about him. He says, the thief, the devil, all right, comes, and what's that word? Only, all right? Only. You mean every once in a while he's on our side, right? No, never, all right? The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. That's his whole agenda. He may say, hey, listen, you can do marriage a different way. Please know, at the end of that day, he wants to kill your marriage. He wants to kill your kids. He wants to destroy your family. He wants to destroy everything important to you. No matter what he promises or what he holds out in front of you, he lies, okay? The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. Jesus says that Jesus came that we may have life, and not just any life, have it abundantly. Satan is not looking out for something good. He's not trying to give Jesus anything good. He's not trying to give you anything good. And if you're sitting there going, so I have this part of me that goes, I want to let go of God because I think this might turn out better, you're buying the sales pitch. Because it always ends up the same way. So here's what Satan is pitching, okay? He says, hey, Jesus, here's everything a man would want. And you're a man, all right? Here's all the kingdoms of the world. Which one do you want? You want to be like run the political world? You want to run the financial world? You want to be king? You don't pick any of them. Pick all of them. They can be yours. I can give them to you. All right. I have somehow. All right. And he's making this up. It's just not true. All right. I can give you all of those things and the authority that comes with being king. And that word authority here, all right? So we hear authority, and a lot of times in the English language, you just kind of rush on. I think I know what that means. Here's what Satan and later Jesus is talking about when he talks about authority. He'll say this. He says, when you have authority, you'll have the right and the ability and the power to do whatever you want to do with your kingdom. Time out. Wouldn't that be great? You're in charge, all right? And it's the trifecta. You have the right. Yep, it's yours. It's your right. You have the ability. I know how to do it, and I have the power. I can make it happen. It's not 2 out of 3. It's not 1 out of 3. I have all of them. I have the right and the ability to do whatever I want to do with my kingdom, and here's the best part, without anybody interfering and without anybody getting in your way. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you had that kind of authority? All right, because if you have that much authority where, like my word goes, you know what comes with authority? Glory. If your life had that much authority, your life would be glorious. What do you mean? All the perks that come with being king. Can you imagine if you were in charge of everything and nobody could stand in your way and you had the right and the ability to do anything you want? Think about walking down the street and you're in charge. I mean, that'd feel good. I think it'd feel good, all right? There'd be like this majesty, like people go, oh, there he is, or there she is. There'd be honor, like people like bow down. You'd be rich. I mean, you just be rich. You'd have bling everywhere. I mean, it'd be great, right? I mean, people would respect you. You would say something and people would go, how high? You know, well, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, all right? And you finally be content. If you had all that authority and power and glory, I mean, you finally have peace inside, you feel safe, and you'd be strong. Nobody would come against you, right? The devil's lying. And Jesus has to know that. He's sitting there going, listen, I know how this whole universe works, and you're not in charge, all right? But it's a sales pitch. I can give you all that. I have the authority to do that and all the perks that come with it. And here's the sales pitch. All this can be yours for one low price, right? So here's what I want you to do, Jesus. Nobody's up here. We're up here on this mountain or this high place, all right? Just between the two of us, all right? Here's what I want you to do. Tell me I'm the boss. Tell me I'm the authority of your life. Give me the keys, all right? I run your life. Bow down and, here it is, worship me. Now again, when we see this word worship, a lot of times, because, we're North Americans and stuff like that, most of us, all right? And we sit there and going, I know what worship means. And when we think worship, here's what I think, singing. Like you went to church, how was the worship? Oh, we sang 3 songs, I didn't know 2 of them, all right? We say that's all it is worship is singing. Is that what Satan is saying? Jesus, get on your knees and write a song for me. Is that what he's trying to convey? And the answer is no. It gets weirder, okay? In Jesus' day, to worship something, this is how it translates. It means to kiss towards them. So if you worship someone, it means to kiss towards them. And I know that sounds freaky, but listen, all right? So culturally, in Jesus' day, and in some places in the world today, kissing is still a greeting. Like we would shake hands and go, or high five, or fist, whatever people in that time and around the world, they kiss. And the way you kissed a person, or how or where you kissed a person, it kind of indicated where you saw yourself in respect to them, or you saw them in respect to you, all right? And we still see this today. Like if you go on one of our trips over like to Afghanistan or Africa or something like that, people don't shake hands like we do here. I remember the first time I went to Afghanistan, there's this man with a big beard and a turban on. He comes in and he's going in for like second base, and I haven't even met him. I'm like, this is gonna get weird, but he has a gun. What am I gonna do? So all right, and what he did is he put his cheek on this cheek, and then he put it on this cheek, and then he kissed the air beside me, and I'm like, oh, whew, I thought I was gonna have to buy him dinner. I didn't know what was going on, right? And it was weird. It was weird, right? So in Jesus' day, right? So like if you met somebody that was your equal, or that you loved, or a family member or something like that, you would kiss them on the lips. And again, it doesn't mean anything more than we're together, we're friends, we're family. And again, some places in the world, all right, men kiss men, women kiss women. It doesn't mean anything more than we're family, we're friends, we're in relationship with one another, okay? But then maybe you'd meet somebody and you look at them and go, well, they're kind of above me, like they're an authority over me or something like that. You wouldn't kiss them on the lips because that would be like too familiar. So you might kiss them on the cheek, and that's what the guy in Afghanistan did, right? Or you might kiss their hand or something like that. You don't want to get too close, but you acknowledge, we're different, right? I'll give you a good example of that. On the night that Jesus was betrayed, somebody kissed Jesus on the cheek. Who was that? Judas. And what he's saying is, hey, you've been my boss, and I'm kissing you goodbye. And he walks out, all right? Now, if you ran into somebody and you go, you're way above me. I mean, like if you're walking down the road and the king, was walking down the road, you would hit the ground. Or if you were in that day, if you were a slave and in chains, and the boss or the master came in with a whip in his hand, you would hit the ground. Or if you're in the military and your side lost and you're a POW and you're in chains on your knees, and the winning general came in and he had a sword and he can do what he wants with that. Here's what you would do: you would bow down on your knees and you would grovel and you would beg for your life, and then you would kiss his feet. And you'd be communicating this: I'll do whatever it takes. I'll let go of everything else, and I'll hold on to you. I'll kiss your whatever you want me to kiss. I'll kiss your feet if you tell me to. If it gets me what I want, if it gives me life, I put myself under your authority. I worship you. And that's what Satan's saying. Here's what I want you to do: kiss my foot. Tell me I'm in charge. You can have all this, all right? You just got to let go of him and take commands from me. Now, let's put that in perspective, okay? Because there's 2 deals on the table for Jesus. There's God's deal, and then there's Satan's deal, but they're both promising the same outcome. You want glory, you want honor, you want worship, you want authority, you want to be king? Listen, both God and Satan are saying, I can get you there, just differently. So here's God's deal, all right? Here's God's deal, because any of us that say, you know what, I want to have some power, I want to have some authority, I want some respect, I want some honor, okay? So we're going to look at what God's path is for Jesus to get that, what's on the other end of this road, and the road looks like this. We're going to look at a guy named Paul wrote a letter to some people who live in a town called Philippi, okay? And that letter is called Philippians. If you live in Philippi, you're a Philippian. Go with it. All right, anyway, so like in one paragraph, Paul says, this is what Jesus did. And the reason he's saying this is because if we're followers of Jesus, he says we ought to think like this. We should have the same mind as Jesus. And here's what Jesus thought, all right? So though Jesus was, and this is going to wreck some of your theology, so you know, right? Though Jesus was in the form of God. Now, hold on to this, okay? Before Jesus came and lived, was born in Bethlehem and went all the way to the cross, right? Before that, he was God. He was with God. They were one, okay? And, I grew up thinking like God was lonely and said, I want to have a baby. Mary, you want to have a baby. And that's how Jesus came about. That's just how he made his entrance. You understand? He was with God before. He's with God now. He's God. He's in the form equal with God, all right? So though Jesus was in the form of God, Jesus did not count equality with God a thing to be grasped. And when you read that, it's like grasping something would be this. It's mine. I'm not letting go of it. It's mine. And I don't have to share it. I don't have to do anything because I'm God. He says, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something else. And here's what he's going to do. He emptied himself by taking the form of a servant, being born in the likeness of men. So he voluntarily lets go of equal with God. He lets go of that authority from above, and then he takes a position of a servant. It's the only way he can do what needs to be done. And here's what he did, all right? Here's how he served us. And being found in human form, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. Okay, so he lets go of this and he says, you know what? I cannot fix the problem from this perspective, from authority from above, all right? So I have to do something. I have to come underneath and I have to serve from underneath. I have to do whatever it takes. I have to obey whatever my Father tells me to do, up to and including laying down my life. And because he did that, this is the road, this is where that road ended, all right? Because he humbled himself, because he served, because he didn't hold back anything, even in the face of pain and embarrassment and shame, and that's not fair, and people hated him, and he was betrayed and death. Here's the result. Here's where that road goes. Therefore, God has exalted him and bestowed on him the name that is above every name, so he's above everything, so that at the name of Jesus, every knee should what? Bow. And why do we bow? You're in authority. I put myself under your authority. I worship you. I kiss your feet. You tell me you have the keys to my life. Every knee, right, should bow in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is what? In charge. All authority has been given to him. He's Lord of lords and he's King of kings, all right? To the glory of God the Father. So you got to think of this. The deal that God offers Jesus is this. You want to be exalted, you want to be lifted up, you want to be King of kings and Lord of lords, you want to have all authority. All right, here's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to make a choice. You have to choose to let go of being equal with God, untouchable. You have to choose to let go of that. You have to choose to take on the form of a servant. You have to choose to obey what I'm going to tell you to do, and it's going to be hard. You're going to have to choose to serve those whom God has entrusted to you, and whatever it takes, up to and including death on a cross. And if you'll do that, God will exalt you. And you'll be Lord of lords and King of kings, and all authority will be given to you on heaven and on earth. And here's where it takes a twist. And then Jesus says, and I'm going to take all of that, I'm going to point to God and say, all the glory goes to him because I could not do this without him. Because he's my Father and he loves me and he's been with me every step of the way. And there's no way I would make it without that. So all the credit and all the glory goes to God. That's the deal God offers Jesus. Here's Satan's deal. It's very different. Satan looks at Jesus up there and goes, that sucks. That's a horrible deal. I would not take that deal. And here's why, all right? Because I can get you there faster. I mean, everybody wants to be famous, and that's just true. We do, all right? Everybody wants to be powerful. Nobody says, when I grow up, I want to be weak. Nope, none of us did that, all right? No, we all want to be respected. We all want to be respected. We just do. We all want to be in charge of something. We all want to have authority that we say something and people actually respond, all right? And we all kind of want the glory that goes with it. We do. We want some credit, all right? So Satan goes, listen, you're human. I get it. I understand why you want these things. I have an option to give you all those things, but it's different than God's deal. I know another way. I have a shortcut to glory. I have a shortcut to respect. I have a shortcut to being honored, all right? And I'll tell you why my deal's better, because it does not involve taking on the form of a servant for people that won't even say thank you. And it certainly doesn't involve pain and shame and crucifixion on a cross, all right? All you have to do is say, God, thank you. No. Let go of what God's telling you to do, and then take hold of me. I'll show you. All right, if it was a car, it'd be like this. God's been driving, kick him out of the driver's seat, put somebody else in the driver's seat. Jesus, hand me the keys to your life. I'll show you how to get there. Bow down and give me the authority. He's been the authority of your life. Tell me I'm the authority of your life, and I can give you anything that you really want. Let me drive your life. Those are the deals on the table, right? And I'll tell you, on the other end of this road, it's the same thing. It's better than what God is offering because it doesn't involve humbling yourself or pain, or it's a shortcut. It's the same two deals, right? Trust God and obey what he's telling you to do, all right? So I'm gonna submit myself. I'm gonna agree with who God is and what God says is true about me. I'm gonna hold on to him and I'm gonna obey him because he's the authority in my life. Or I'm gonna kick him out of the car and give somebody else the keys. Don't trust God. Give somebody else the authority, right? Say, somebody else can run my life. Hey, God, no. You wanna run my marriage? You wanna tell me what a man is? No, thanks, God, no. You wanna tell me what it means to be a good father? You want to tell me what it means to be a leader? All right, thanks, God, I'm going to go this way. So those are our deals. And this is our deal all week long. Right? This isn't a 2,000-year-old story. This is what we dealt with all week long, right? And Jesus' response, he goes back to God's word and does the same thing he's done all along. He quotes from this speech that Moses gave to some people after he led them through the wilderness, like 1,000 years ago, all right? It took him 40 years to get there. And every time Satan hits him, he's the same thing. He quotes from this speech, like turn stones into bread. I don't live by bread alone. I'm not going to let go of God in order to fix myself or feed this emptiness inside. It doesn't work. And how about this? I'm not going to test God. I'm not going to say, God, I'm going to let go of you and do something stupid. And if it's really bad, I hope you'll catch me. No, I'm not going to roll the dice with my life. I'm going to trust God and not let go of him. And today it's the same thing. I'm not going to let go of what God said is the only way and the only path that leads to accomplishing and achieving the things that are most important in my life. There is no shortcut. So if they're on that high place, he looks back at Satan, and this is how he says it. He says, Jesus answered him, and he said this, listen, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve. I'm not going to worship you. I'm not going to kiss your feet. I'm not going to give you the authority of my life. I'm going to follow God. And I know the road's hard, and I know it's long, but he says he'll take care of me. So no. Now, here's why I picked Luke instead of Matthew, because this is how Luke ends this part, all right? It says this, and when the devil had ended every temptation, he departed from him until an opportune time, right? Because that's how it works. We don't have a good day and then Satan leaves us alone forever, right? It's like, hey, we had a good Tuesday, but he shows up on Wednesday, and here's what Satan does, at least in my life, all right? We talked about this a couple weeks ago. He just waits. He just waits and watches, and he finds that time in my life where I'm really hungry for something and it doesn't feel like God's going to feed it anytime soon, or I'm really empty, or I need things to change really, really fast, and it feels like God's not paying attention. I get really, really frustrated, and I kind of picture my life on the edge of the Grand Canyon. If I turn left and hold on to God, it seems really, really hard, and I don't know how it's going to work out. I just got to hold on to him anyway, or I can let go of him, and I can say, roll the dice with my life and jump and hope that it actually works out. And that's when he wraps himself around me. He says, jump. Because you can't trust God. These are my deals on the table. Trust God and obey him, or don't trust God and do something different. Now, we're wrapping up this series, and this whole series has kind of been a man series, right? Every once in a while we'll do a series really targeting men, and I know that all along I've been saying, hey, women, do the math, and here's that applies to you too, and that certainly is true, all right? But from here, for the rest of this, okay, I just want to talk to men. All right, and so here's the deal I want to, okay? This is a man series, and I'm going to say some things, and some women are going to probably get mad. Do you want me to do a women's series? Because it won't go well. Because there's a whole bunch of verses in there I'm just leaving out right now, because that is a different thing. So here's the agreement with this, ladies and kids, all right? If you're dad or whatever's in this room, okay? What I'm about to say, you're not allowed to say, right? Well, you cannot take this and throw this in your husband or your boyfriend or your dad's face, all right? You know why? Because there's only one person allowed to do that, all right? And that's the Holy Spirit, and you ain't him, all right? That role is full, okay? And you're not him. So whatever God wants to do with what I'm about to say, you apply it to yourself. But do not get in the car and go, did you hear what he said, right? Because I will do a woman series, and I'm telling you, all right? So I won't. I won't. All right, so let's go all the way back, okay? Application time. In chapter 3 of the Bible, if you don't believe me, you can read this, okay? All the way back when Adam and Eve screw up the whole thing because God says, you can trust me, and they say, I think there's a different way, and they jumped and then screwed up everything. In that conversation, God sits Adam down and goes, let me tell you how your life is going to be from now on. All right? And here's what God says to Adam. He says, anything good in your life, anything important in your life, anything that you're going to try to get to provide for and protect you and your family, this is how you're going to get it. It will come, and this is how it translates, by the sweat of your face, by the sweat of your brow. You're going to have to, your whole life is going to be hard. You're going to have hard work, and without hard intentional effort and attention and hard work until like you're a sweaty, exhausted mess, the thing that you hoped, the thing that you thought would bring life to and feed your family and protect your family, if you don't fight for it every day, sweaty, hard fight for it every day, it's a matter of time until somebody else comes in and takes it from you, or thorns and thistles will wrap themselves around it and it will die. And here's the second thing he says, and this isn't for a little while or until things get better or your first 2 years of marriage and then after that it's easy. No. There's never going to be a time, right? From this day forward, until your funeral, you're going to have to get out of bed every day and work hard. There is no time out. There's no point in your life when you look at any part of the important parts of your life, any important relationships in your life and go, there, that's fixed, and I'll never have to deal with that again. No, none, all right? And there are no shortcuts to what you really need and want and I've always hoped for in your life. No shortcuts, all right? If you want things to be the way they need to be, and the Hebrew word for things the way they need to be as God intended them, you know what the Hebrew word for that is? Shalom. As God meant it to be. That's what shalom means, all right? If you want shalom in your own life, in your own heart, in your family, with your girlfriend, with your wife, with your kids, whatever that is, you're gonna have to get out of bed every day and work sweat-face hard for the rest of your life, or somebody else will take it from you, or something will come in and choke it out and it will die. Now, what's the point with that happy story, Jim? Here, okay? So, I know it's coming. I'm getting nervous. All right. So since that time, and I don't know how long people have been here, but listen, since that time, mankind, and I'm not gonna say that, men specifically, we have had, I'm gonna out us, we've had 3 goals in our life. Since the time that we could remember thinking, 22, right? So, no, we've had 3 goals. No matter what we approach in life, basically in the back of our mind, here's what we're going for. First thing is, I want most things to be easy, right? I do. I'm like, that seems hard. I'd like something that doesn't involve a lot of sweat, okay? I'd like to take the easy path. Is there a shortcut? I want that, but is there an easier way to get it? That's the first thing, all right? I want it to be easy. The second thing is this. If things aren't easy, I want somebody else to do the work. You sweat for me, right? I want you to do all the hard work because it just seems kind of hard and I don't really want to do it. So you need to do the hard stuff. The third thing is this. If neither seems possible, we usually say it's not worth it and then we quit. Don't sweat it. I'll find another one. Now, in most areas of life, man, just be honest, all right? That has been true all of our life. When we were kids sitting on the couch with a remote control going, all right? And our parents would walk in the room and go, do your homework, clean your room, mow the yard. We were like, it's so hot outside and it's hard and I'll sweat. And then you know what? And then we're like, no, and then you went out for sports or something like that. And when I say sports, some of you are going, I ain't afraid of that. No pain, no gain. I call bull, all right? You know what? You are looking for the best way to get gains with as little pain as possible. I've been in a supplement store. You walk up to the counter and go, hey, see that poster? I want to look like that. I just don't really want to work out. Got any shortcuts? And they look back and go, absolutely, and they sell you $200 for nothing, all right? It just, there are no shortcuts. Business people, all right? You know this is true. If somebody offers you a deal that's just too good to be true, it's probably not true. What do you mean? There's somebody way up the food chain who says, you know what? I can make money and not break a sweat. I'm going to let all them sweat for me. And you should run. It's true in all areas of life. I want it to be easy. If it's not easy, I want somebody else to do it for me. And if they won't do it for me, I'll just find another deal. And it's really true in the areas of life that matter most. All this whole series, we've been looking at these questions over and over and over that we get out of bed every day and ask, who am I? Man, whatever the first thought is in the day, when you look in the mirror, the first judgment you have about yourself, that's your identity. That's what you think you are. That's what you think you're worth, all right? Second by this is, and what am I good for? What am I worth? Do I have value? Am I important to anybody? And how do I know I even count? And why am I here, right? Am I good at anything that somebody would look at me and go, I honor you, man. You're really good. I respect you. Is there anything that I'm good at that people would go, I honor you. I respect you. Followed by this, am I enough? Am I the kind of man that can measure up in the parts of life that matter most? And those questions come up every day, and probably they don't come up more every day, and then the answers come rushing back. I can't think of another area of life than the people we care about the most in our interactions with them. And I'll be really specific, all right? Our wife, and if we're not married yet, you go out with a girl 2 or 3 times, and it already starts popping up. So I'm gonna say our wife, our girlfriend, and our children. Now, let me tie all this thing of Jesus up there on that mountain and everything we've been dealing with, all right? I don't know any men. I do know a couple men that are total narcissists, but here's what I don't think there's many men who say, I want my family to worship me. I'm sure they're out there, but I don't think any man says, I want to be worshiped. Here's what we would like. We would like to know that at least somebody appreciates us. that somebody respects us, that somebody loves us, all right? That we're honored by somebody, all right? We don't want to walk in the front door. I don't want to walk in the front door after church and have Robin meet me in the foyer and fall at my feet and kiss me. Oh, Master, you're home. I hardly ever want her to do that. And that'd be kind of cool. It's never going to happen. It's never happened, and it's not going to happen. We don't expect our wife and kids to bow down and kiss our feet. Here's what we would like to acknowledge, for them to acknowledge that, we are the leader, we are a provider, we are a protector in their life, and occasionally, hey, you're really good at that, and every once in a while a thank you would go a long way. It really would. Here's our problem, man. The way we approach our wife or our girlfriend or our children is the way that we approach everything else in life, the same three ways. And it doesn't work. What do you mean? I mean this, I want my marriage to be easy. I want raising kids to be easy, just one big party, all right? So I'm looking for a shortcut because I don't really want to work hard at it. I want to walk in the house, all right, and have, I don't know what the problem is with people's kids. Mine are just like, easy. And my wife, this is every day it gets better and better and better. It's not even any hard work. No sweat. I've been married for 50 years, never broke a sweat. That's what I want. Okay? Or how about this? If she's not easy, that just sounds bad. But anyway, I didn't think of that last night. We should probably change that. Anyway, but if getting along with her that's not easy, if my children aren't easy, I want them to change. Right? I work hard. I put food on the table. I put a roof over their head. I need to sit in my chair. You need to change. You need to break a sweat. I sweat all day long. You need to change. And if neither of those are possible, here's what we do, man. We usually try to find it somewhere else. Don't sweat it. I'll just get it from someone else. If you're not going to respect me, she will. If they're not going to make me feel appreciated, they do at work, and I'll just go there. That's all men. Every man I've ever known, and myself is on this list, all right? 13 to 100, they were all the same. Listen, when it comes to respect and honor, and our wife or our girlfriend saying, I'll follow you, or for our kids to look at us and go, you're the dad, you're the boss. Men, this is where we want to start. They just should. That's what you should do. That never wins an argument, by the way. Because that's just all right. It just never does that. Okay, and so when you run out of I just think that's the way it's supposed to be. But then some of you go to church a few times and then you pull out some Bible verses that you've heard about, you never read, you couldn't find them in the Bible right now, and you throw these Bible verses at your wife or your kids. I'm the head of the home. I'm the spiritual leader of our home. And you know what? You have no idea what that means. And you would never throw those verses at anybody, your wife or your kids or your girlfriend, right? If you read the verses right before it and the verses right below it, because if you read those, you would rip that page out of your Bible and go, never mind. Right? Because it doesn't go well for us, all right? And but we throw these Bible cards and say, you have to do it because I'm the boss. And if you don't feel like you get that respect or that honor that you want a shortcut. And the shortcut is always on them changing, not you. I want them to do it. I want to be pain-free. I don't want to break a sweat. But you all need to get your life together. And how about this, all right? If you don't get that honor and that respect, some of us have gone, I don't really want it. Because if I was the kind of man, the kind of husband, the kind of boyfriend, the kind of father that gets honor and respect, I bet there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. And I'm kind of afraid of taking responsibility. So maybe I'm not qualified to lead, or I'm not worth their respect or her. And so we become passive. And we let her, our wife or our girlfriend, run our life or run our family, and our kids are out there running their own lives on their own, unprotected. And you're just a shut up and pay the bills footnote because you have abdicated everything, and you sit in your chair and watch ball games and drink beer and say whatever. You just don't want to take responsibility. Let me say this, okay, because it's dead quiet, I bet, on all 4 campuses right now. Listen to this, all right? Wanting to be respected by people that you really care about and wanting to be honored and wanting to be loved are not bad things to want. I want them. I do. I'm without apology. I want them. But listen, man, all right? If we believe that she or they owe it to us simply because we have some title called husband or dad or man or something like that, because we have the right sexual biology, all right? Or if you think that or believe that there's some shortcut to get what you want and it's all on them, or if you believe that, you know what, I can't lead, I shouldn't lead, I've decided I'm not going to lead, I'm afraid to take responsibility for what God has entrusted to me. Listen, all right? It's not on them. That's not your wife's fault. That's not on your girlfriend. And it's not if your kids will get their act together. It has nothing to do with them. Here's why you've abdicated. You disagree with what God says is true about you and about marriage and about family and about parenting. And when you disagree with God, what you say is, I don't trust you. And it's a matter of time till I let go of God and I take hold of something else and give somebody else the keys to my life to feed what's hungry inside of me, to tell God I have a better way, and I'm going to roll the dice, and I'm going to jump off a cliff, and I'm going to blow up my life and my kids and my wife, another marriage, whatever that is. I'm going to give somebody else the authority in my life to say, this is what a man is, this is what a husband is, this is your role in your wife's life, this is your role in your children's life, and this is if you're enough or not. I'm going to hand the keys to somebody else. That is most of us. Right? So what are we going to do? And the answer is always the same answer. Go back to Jesus. Go back to Jesus. I'm gonna say something, all right? And it may be the toughest thing you've ever heard. In church anyway. But it's absolutely true. All right, somebody came to me last night in the lobby and goes, man, that's hard. I went, dang right it's hard. If I have to do this 4 times, you just have to sit through it once. Buckle up, all right? So here he goes, all right? Listen, man, listen. No one, including your wife or your children, owes you honor, owes you respect, owes you anything simply because of your position of being male, of being husband, of being dad, or being moneymaker. And some of you are going, how can you say that, Jim? Jesus. Boom, I'll throw that card. Jesus, right? Jesus wasn't honored. We don't honor and respect and worship Jesus. You know, he's not exalted because he held on to that and goes, I'm the boss. I'm the boss. No. Jesus never walks into any room, in any situation in the Bible, takes out his God card and throws it on the table and goes, I'm the boss, you all are screw-ups, get in line or I'll burn you in hell. And I got the power and the strength to do it. He didn't, not once. He could have, he didn't. And the only reason that any of us are here today, the only reason that is because Jesus let go of that power position, humbled himself, and he served those he loved right then, and he looked ahead to Colorado to those he loved in the future. None of us is going to heaven. None of us had our sins forgiven. None of us are experiencing anything new or better in our life because Jesus took a shortcut to avoid the pain and the inconvenience of his own wants and needs. Jesus never once chose to take care of what he wanted to do and what felt good for him instead of what needed to be done for those who he entrusted to. Here's what Jesus did. When serving ungrateful, selfish, tantrum-throwing people like me, when his emotions said, this is hard, this is not fair, is there any other way? I'm overwhelmed to the point of death. He didn't tap out. He held on to what his Father wrote on his page, and he obeyed him all the way to death. He sacrificed his whole life, even death on a cross. And the Bible pictures Jesus as the groom and the church as his bride, and we're part of that church. Listen, to this day, Jesus hasn't divorced any of us. He hasn't abandoned us. He hasn't walked out on us. He hasn't betrayed us. He hasn't kicked us to the curb. He hasn't put an ultimatum finger in our chest. And speaking as a member of the bride of Christ, I constantly take him for granted. I rarely say thank you. And most days it looks like I cheat on him and worship anything and everyone except him. Men, would you stick with a woman who treated you like the church treats Jesus? But he does it every day. Every day he gets on his knees and he serves us. So men, that's the example. Jesus' example, and he went first. And leaders go first. And men go first. And husbands go first. And fathers go first. And we can't expect our families to do anything different until we're willing to go first. So how are we going to do that? How did Jesus do it? Let's go back to Jesus. Here's how Jesus did it, all right? On a day in history, God split the sky, called a timeout, and said, please know this. You are my son, and I love you, and I have a very specific role for you to play, and you are enough because I will be with you every step of the way. Hey, men, 10 to 100, listen, God's saying the same thing to you right now. Well, you don't know what I did. You don't know who God is. But I should be disqualified. You don't know who Jesus is. Because this is what Jesus is saying to every one of you, us, right now, okay? And he's saying it to the women too, absolutely, all right? But he says this, you're my child, you are my son, and I love you. And men, I have a very specific role for you to play in your wife's life. And you're going, I'm 13, I haven't met her yet. Get ready. She's out there waiting for you. You haven't even met her yet. And everything you're doing right now in middle school and high school and college is preparing for her. I have a very specific role for you to play in your wife's life. And one day, you may have children. You might adopt them. You might have them. They might just come over to your house because their parents are gone. But whatever that is, you're going to be enough. You're enough because I will be with you every step of the way. You got a mission. It's going to be a tough road. It's going to get scary and dark. And you're going to face roadblocks that seem unfixable. And you're going to want to tap out, and your options will always be this. Trust God and obey what he's telling you to do, or don't. Don't trust him. Roll the dice and go do your own thing. But God is clear, men. Husbands, fathers, listen. This is the way. What do you want on the other end? I want respect. I want love. I want honor. I want to know I'm a good man. The only way, the only mission, the only road to be the same kind of man as Jesus is to do what he did. What do you mean by that? The way to be respected and honored, and we all want to be respected and honored, right, is to take the form of a servant. Not a brute, not a boss, not a master, a servant. How about this? The way to love your wife, because somebody's going, I'm trying to love her. How am I supposed to love her, all right? The way to love your wife is to love her like Christ loved the church. He leveraged his whole life so she could experience life as God meant for her to experience. And the only way that we're going to not buy the wrong sales pitch or read the wrong things off of what people have written on our page and then end up letting go of God and letting go of our wife and letting go of our kids and jumping off a cliff and killing one more marriage or one more family or one more heart, the way we're going to avoid that, the only way, the guy in the Bible writes it like this. Our only way, men, is this. We have to submit ourselves to the Lord. And submit there is a voluntary action of I volunteer. I don't have to. I can run my own life. I can give the keys to my life to anybody I choose to give them to. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bow down and I'm going to worship Jesus. I'm going to hold on to him. You're the authority of my life. And anytime I don't know what you say about me or what's true about me, I'm going to go back to your word every day so I can agree with what you say is true about me and what your plan is for my life and in her life and what your plan is for my life in my children's life. So I'm going to submit myself to the Lord. I'm not going to quit there. I'm going to actively resist the devil. And he will flee from me. I need him to get away from me. How am I going to do that? I'm going to resist the devil. It's an intentional strategy. I'm going to put myself in a place. A couple weeks ago, we talked about it like this. I'm going to put myself in a fortress, in a refuge. I'm going to surround myself with reinforcements who will stand with me and protect me. Okay, here's the part that's going to just really make some women mad. Kids in the room. All right, so listen, all right? And ladies, email me. It's fine, all right? Men get their strength from Jesus and other men. We cannot look to women and children to get our strength. They weren't designed for that. They weren't intended to that. That's why we have so many little boys running around the world. They don't have a dad. We need good men in their life, men to tell them who they are. That's not a slam on any moms. Listen, of all this whole series, the thing I'm overwhelmed with is being a single mom. You have to do all the mom stuff and all this other stuff on top of it. Right? So you're heroes, you're absolute champions. So I'm talking to anybody who has kids in your life. The only way you're going to do this is you're going to stay close to Jesus. And men, listen, how close? As close as you can get, right up against him, like his shadow is right there. And then you have to link arms with other men. Any old men? No, men that are running after Jesus. There is no shortcut. There's no other way to get what you really want when it comes to being a man and a husband and father. Serve, love, submit, resist, and obey like Jesus did. And honor and respect are on the other way. And the only way to do that is to hold on to Jesus and get some men around you. The only way I'm still married after 33 years is not because I'm a fantastic husband. It's Jesus and some other men in my life. The only reason I'm up here today, because I have tons of reasons and opportunities to not be up here. The only reason I'm here is Jesus, and I got some strong men in my life. It's the only way. Now, I'm going to land this series and then transition it. But wait, it gets worse. Don't clap yet. Here's what I'm going to do, okay? So I'm going to talk to men, but I want everybody to do this if you're willing to do this. I want you to close your eyes right now, all right? And I want you to picture yourself. If you were the man that you always wanted to be, if you were the husband that you know you want to be, the father. Can you imagine if God said, Shalom, that's what I had in mind? When I was talking about marriage and being a good husband, you've just nailed it, man. Being a good dad, that's you. You absolutely. I want everybody to pay attention. Look at this guy. He's figured it out. What would your life look like if you were that kind of man, that kind of husband, someday maybe that kind of dad, that kind of boyfriend? If Jesus pointed to you and said, that's what I had in mind. And do you want to be that? Do you want to be that kind of man? Do you want to be that kind of husband? Do you want to be that kind of father? Can you imagine? Okay, open your eyes and look at me. Why aren't you already there? Why aren't we there yet? I'm on that list. Why am I not that kind of man? Why am I not that kind of husband? Why have I not been that kind of dad? And here's what's coming up in all of us right now. Well, you don't know what happened to me, and I've been on my own, and then my dad didn't teach me anything. He was a piece of whatever, and I had to do this, and then it's unfair. And my wife, she doesn't love my girlfriend, she doesn't love me. My kids are so disrespectful. If they would just, all right, listen, okay, take all of that bunch of reasons, all right, and they're all reasons. right? And they're probably right? Don't mean anything because they're not excuses. You throw all those excuses out, throw all that blame other people out the window, and here's what it comes down to. To be that kind of man, that kind of husband, that kind of father is really seems impossible, seems really hard, and ready? I don't want to do what it takes to become that kind of man. I just don't want to. Confession time, the things that are hurting our marriage, hurting my life, hurting my leadership, the sins that are interfering with that, I don't want to let go of them yet. Right? I don't want to do the hard work. Now listen, I'm not saying the reason you're not that kind of man or that kind of husband or that kind of dad, the only reason is because you don't want to be. I'm not saying that at all. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff going on, all right? But I will say this with 100% conviction. Unless or until you want to be that man and then start building an intentional strategy to do the work to become that man, all the men, all 4 campuses, say the last 4 words with me, 1, 2, 3. It will never happen. It won't. You won't become that man on accident. One day I stumbled into it and I became a great husband. That ain't never gonna happen. So I want you to hang around for the next 8 weeks, okay? We're gonna start a new series tomorrow, or next week, and I came up with a catchy title. Look at this. Can people really change? It's number one question I'm asked, probably more than anything. Do you think I can ever change? Do you think she'll ever change? Do you think my marriage can ever change? Do you think my son will ever change? Right? Over and over and over. And if you're sitting there going, no, people don't change, then you're calling Jesus a liar because he says people can change. But if you say, yeah, people can change, then why aren't we? I don't see very much life change in anybody. Do you? I don't care if they're Christian or not, all right? I mean, I see people like get all fired up and cry on a sad song or see whatever that is. They go, oh, from now on, I'm gonna be a different man. And you know what? It lasts a week or two because we all can muster up a week or two and then it all falls apart. Couples, wouldn't you say the number one line that comes up somewhere in your fights is this: you'll never change, right? Well, can we change? And how's that possible? So here's the application, all right? All you have to do this week is think about it. All right, there's discussion questions online like there are every week. I really encourage you to do that again. But so here's how we started this series. Jesus was baptized to say, from now on, my life is very, very intentional in one direction. It's about seeing and doing whatever has to be done so that the people I love and care about are forgiven. That's what my life is about. Next week, we're going to have baptism weekend. Okay? And we're saying, listen, several things about this baptism. First of all right, on my own, I can do nothing. And I've done a lot of things wrong in my life, and I'm carrying the condemnation with it, and it's too heavy. Could that be washed away? Not by water, but by what Jesus did on the cross. The answer is yes. I still have consequences, I just don't have condemnation. The other thing is on my own, I can't do anything. I can't be a husband, I can't be a man, I can't be a father. I'm doing my best, and I don't want to do it on my own. Okay. Jesus makes a promise that when you put your faith in him, he moves inside of you. And with God, we know this, all things are possible. Even those things going, I don't know if I can be that. I know, on your own. So, man, this is baptism for anybody that wants to put as an outward demonstration of their inward faith in Jesus. But men, let me tell you what's going on right now on all 4 of our campuses, right? There are a bunch of kids right now going, come on, Dad, lead. There's some girlfriends and wives who are going, you want to be a spiritual leader of your home? Leaders go first. You walk up here next week in one of our campuses, all right? And be baptized, not because you have it all figured out, because this is what it looks like to go first, to put my faith in Jesus. All our family, all our girlfriends, all our wives, all they're looking for is just, I just want the number one man in my life to take one step towards Jesus, and I will follow him anywhere. I'll trust him more. Because on the other end of that road is respect. It's going to be a humbling experience. So come and be baptized. There have been people waiting. Jesus has been waiting on you for a long time. Here's the other thing we're going to do next week. Next week, we're going to re-up this. Some of you look around and go, what is, I see people wearing this all over town. What does that mean? Here's what it means. So about 5 years ago, this is how it came about. I was driving to church on Saturday night, getting ready for church, and I hadn't taken my meds that day. And anytime I walk in after not taking meds, I go, hey, I got an idea. And people like run for cover. So I came up here on Saturday night, and I did it again on Sunday morning. And I said, listen, hey, tomorrow, we're just getting ready to launch this series. I said, hey, tomorrow after the Bronco game, 5 years ago, Tim Tebow days, all right? I said, listen, I know this is short notice, but on Sunday night, 30 minutes after the game is over, any man who says, you know what, I want my life to change. I want to run after Jesus. I want to become that man. I've been doing my best. I just need another shot. I need to link arms with some strong men. 30 minutes after the game is over, all right? So we only had one campus then. Just come over here to the Lafayette campus, and let's just see how many men really want to run after that. And in less than 24 hours notice, 4,000 men crammed in this room. 4,000 men. And it was amazing, all right? Now, over the years, it's like we do man series and stuff like that, but that was a moment in time that changed our church. It changed our church forever. And so next weekend, what we're going to do is there's going to be baptism, pools up here and at the different campuses. If you go to Aurora, they're going to get in the high school swimming pool. You get baptized, high dive baptism. Oh, it'd be awesome, all right? But so that baptism is for anybody. But hey, men, listen, all right? You ever feel like you just need to re-up that commitment? Kind of reaffirm your vows, things like that. That's what some of you have done this 2 or 3 years ago. Some of you did it 5 years ago. Some of you, it's for those of us 13 years and older. It's just a marker. All this means, so this means I'm married, right? I mean, it doesn't mean I'm married, it just reminds me I'm married, okay? And you know what this means? This means a day came in time where I stepped across the line, I left my past behind, and I have a new focus of my life. This is my focus of my life. From now on, listen, I got a crappy past. I don't think they would have hired me if they knew my past. I don't think she would have married me if she would have known my past. But it's my past. And I've been washed clean by Jesus. And he lives inside of me. And so from now on, I want to fix my eyes on Jesus. I want to love and honor and be faithful to my wife, no matter if I've done it wrong in the past. From now on, I want to walk across the line. I want to lead. I want to teach. I want to protect my son and my daughter. And here it is, man. I got to forgive myself. I got to forgive some other people that ruined my life. And from now on, I got to hold on to Jesus. And women, that's the same thing for us. You've been waiting for a man, a dad, a boyfriend, to be that man. This won't change us. Water won't change us. Jesus changes us. So next week, lead. Let's stand up. I'm done, and then I got to do this one more time, and then go watch the Raiders die. That's my plan. Hey, just footnote here. So I was online on Facebook. I saw Scott had posted something from Lexington. His son had a Raiders jersey on. Pray for him. I don't even think he's saved anymore. All right. He probably is. So Lord, your word says that you can do all things, and all things are possible. You know what? We don't even want all things. There's one thing that we're thinking about right now in our life. It's so important, and it feels like it's slipping away from us. It's dying. It's walking away. It put up a wall because it needed to survive. It's our wife. It's our girlfriend. It's our sons and our daughters. And God, we're just asking for one thing to be possible. Will you make it whatever you have to do to change something inside of us, so that we can knock that wall down and we can do whatever it takes to reach out and love and serve and protect and submit ourselves and not let go of your word, but actually hold on to Jesus and hold on to her and hold on to our children like we've never done before. And then that's all we can do. And above that, I need you to do the impossible. And if you'll do that, Lord, I will take all of that. I don't want any glory. I don't want any credit for being a good dad or a good husband or a good father. If you'll just do all that, one day I'll look in your face and I'll just take off whatever crowns I have and I'll lay them at your feet and go, it's all because of you. The only way I made it through this marriage, for being a dad, through being a boyfriend, for whatever it is that I had to go through, all the glory, all the credit goes to you, and I worship you, Jesus. I look forward to that day. I look forward to next weekend when men start leading. That's my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We'd love to pray for you throughout the week. If you go to flatironschurch.com/prayer, our teams will be praying for you. Also, no matter where you are in the world, we'd love to hear what God's doing in your life and in your community. If you send us an email at mystory@flatironschurch.com, that would be awesome. Lastly, if you'd like to join our mission throughout the world to reach lost and broken people, you can go to flatironschurch.com/give online and join us there. Again, thanks so much for being here for Mad Men.